Welcome to LiveLaughLoads, a fun podcast for gay men exploring authenticity and vulnerability.
Where we talk about gay culture, mental health, relationships, and sex. Come take a load off with me, Ryan.
And me, Dario. So sit back, strap in, and enjoy the ride. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Dario.
How's it going?
Oh my gosh, it's certainly fucking going.
It's been quite some time.
It's been almost 4 months, I think.
I left for Europe in July, mid-July.
And I think our last recording was either right before or right after Pride.
Yeah,
Because it was shortly after I met Scott.
that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So, well,
Lots has happened, y'all.
I know. I can't wait to catch up. We're on episode 7.
Wow, guys. Almost a year of recording, too, now.
Almost a year of recording. We hit our 1,000 followers on Instagram. Actually, 1,040 this morning. So in like 3 days, we got also another 40 followers, which is amazing to me.
Yeah.
It's a small number, but
Keep it,
still
yeah,
amazing
it's
to
quite
me.
an accomplishment for people who started with nothing, a year ago. So I feel
Yeah.
good about that.
And we also got 1,000 plays on Spotify among all of our episodes. So there's some sort of, parallel. Definitely a lot.
Everybody is listening to one episode.
Once.
And that's
enough.
okay. Thanks, guys.
But anyhow, I've been having a lot of fun. I think like initially we committed to 10 episodes.
I don't even remember a commitment other than
Well, I think like that was the goal that I set
yeah.
for the project.
Yeah, if we ever set like an episode goal, a number goal, I forgot about it long ago and just have been riding the wave.
Yeah. So, but it's been so rewarding regardless.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we're recording again because it's been a while and I kind of missed it.
Yeah, no, and certainly there's been like a therapeutic aspect to it for sure. Like talking about like my like PTSD and everything that happened with that, like definitely felt really good to like put it out there as opposed to like just because like I said, describing during that episode, I had a hard time even just like connecting with the reality of that situation.
Mm.
So being able to kind of like put it out there, I feel like made it realer in the sense of like being able to do something about it. So
Yeah, something fell. That's sort of what I feel as well. Like I think it's been really healing. Like I have to become more vulnerable and open to share things that like I'm a very private person in general
likewise.
in my life. And even with my friends, it takes me a long time to get to that place. So this has been very therapeutic to like really open up and just be vulnerable. And it's really funny because I have met people through my trip or just new people in general in my life. And within a couple of weeks after they know that I'm doing the podcast, they know so much about me because they listened to that first episode or the second episode. And it's been like, okay, well, I guess everything is out there now for the world to just listen to. But I think that there is something really healing for that for me particularly. And to like really target the hiding, right? A lot of the gay stories, and certainly mine growing up, like has been a lot about like, oh, you have to hide that, like don't show it. And like all my 15 first years of life where like you just hide who you are.
If you're not hiding it, you're like reshaping it to make it like
Tolerable,
acceptable and tolerable and like fit the norm. So I would say I feel more resonance with like the latter. I feel like more than a hider, I feel like I'm kind of like a contorter.
Yeah. So I guess that it's a really interesting opening for the episode today. So,
Yeah, and I will say we the episode today is the goal is to keep it a little bit lighter
yeah,
because we have had the past have been pretty heavy with just like lots of content, lots of issues. I will say that personally, I will have stuff to catch everybody up on that will bring some weight probably,
yeah,
but otherwise, we hope we have a little bit of a lighter episode for
yeah.
everybody. We're gonna try our best to keep it to one part.
Oh, we'll see if that
We always come in with that goal, but we're usually not
happens.
successful.
So, episode name is Just Roommates. This
Rated gay for everyone.
And what we wanted to do is actually talk about gay representation in media or queer representation in media and really understand what is that fine line between gay coding of characters, gay baiting, erasure, and also good representation. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of different types of media. So we have movies and shows and music,
I think we talked about
artists,
comics a little bit.
comics and superheroes and yeah, and we're just gonna analyze from our perspectives with the things that we watched. And I just want to do a caveat that, I want you all to remember that Ryan and I are different generations.
So you're gonna get two different
Yeah, so
experiences a
yeah,
little
like the
bit.
things I was watching growing up, Ryan barely heard of them. And I had to like teach him a little bit. It's like, well, I was there for the first men on men kiss on television,
And I was there for it. I was just
yeah,
like this big.
right. I'm probably not seeing what
No,
that meant.
nope.
But for me it was very therapeutic. So but anyhow, welcome back. This is your part.
Welcome back. It's been a minute. As we said, 3 to 4 months to be exact. I have a very new situation that I will be catching you guys all up on.
And yeah, and I'm back from Europe. I met some very interesting men. I have a really more worldly perspective of gay experiences around Italy and Spain. An absolute love with both of those countries. And yeah, and I missed you all.
So today's episode is for the gays, the theys, and everyone who's ever yelled, "Just kiss already" to the screen.
Because we're talking about queer baiting, queer coding, and representation from Jafar to Sailor Uranus, and how the media keeps almost giving us what we want.
But
Almost.
but not enough.
Not enough, and not the perfect
Mm-mm.
quiet yet. In some cases, I
Yeah,
think.
some cases we've had some diamonds in the rough.
So to open, as usual, we're gonna talk about our thirst traps of the week. I think yours is first.
Yeah, so I'm doing evidence nutrition, and on Instagram, his name is Eden Sahovic. He is a Canadian nutrition coach and personal trainer. And you guys all know how I feel about health misinformation. He does a lot of work to disseminate health misinformation and try to provide people with the facts. I've even gotten a few little shout outs for him on Instagram myself. So this one's for you, Eden.
Cute. And mine is Evolved by Chris. I just recently discovered this man. He's the sexiest daddy I ever seen. He talks about attachment styles and particularly him being a secure attachment style and just like how he would um, or how people should come in into a secure connection and a relationship. I watched like several of his videos. I'm absolutely in love with this man. He's amazing. So give him a follow. Again, his handle is Evolved by Chris.
And I will definitely backstep and be like, Eden is also very nice to look at. So keep those shirtless posts coming. I will say I'm more of a fan of the facial hair than the baby look. And everybody's got their preferences. Just my personal preference. I think you look better with the facial hair. The blonde is I would never have picked blonde for you, but you're rocking it well.
Well, I'm gonna say to Chris then, You're perfect the way you are. Don't change a thing.
Never change.
So, do you want to share with our listeners on how this came about? Because we had like this whole debate, like. By the way, like
The
the way
planning
that
for this episode started months
months
ago.
and months ago, I think this was before I left.
I think this is, yeah, before we were even done recording, we already started
And
kind of teasing this
yeah, and
idea.
it's really funny because like the episode's topics just have been coming very
Naturally.
naturally and very fluidly. This one started off a conversation, like I have a tendency to bombard Ryan with a bunch of
Not
like,
just me.
well, not just him.
It's part of Daria's love language. Reels on Instagram.
Instagram, and they're very curated.
Yeah.
That is my thing. Like,
Dario is our own little algorithm
yeah,
for all of us.
I work as an algorithm in my spirit. So when I see something, I automatically, the first thing I do is like I think of my friends and then like which of my friends will actually enjoy this as well. And it's kind of my way of like sharing and knowing that like we have
Yeah.
things in common. So but anyhow, I started sending a bunch of reels to Ryan about Benson Boon. I don't know. He's a musician. He's quite new. Did he come out of
I think he's
American Idol? I think he's.
I have no idea where he's
Or
come from. I think he's not I mean, new-ish, like in the last couple of years. I think he's definitely a little much more popular with like the generation below me, I think is my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely one of the newer ones. Really great musician.
Yeah, absolutely
Very
talented.
nice to look at as well.
Beautiful.
He's a gorgeous man. He's the guy. If you guys seen the MTV Music Awards last year, he's like doing flips.
Yeah, he's a blue jumpsuit and he's doing flips.
Yeah, he loves doing flips on stage. But there has been a conversation online, mostly triggered by one of his latest videos,
Electric Blue.
Electric Blue,
which is a great song.
It's a great song. And in the video, he's wearing the short shorts. He's shirtless. I think he's like doing like car washing.
Yeah, the whole video is like an homage to like disco, like the 80s, like that kind of fashion where it was like very scandalous for guys, short shorts and crop tops.
Yeah, but he's definitely pulling, the gay look.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And so the conversation around social media has been that he's being gay baiting, that like literally he's not coming out as gay. He doesn't seem to be gay, although questionable.
Yeah, we don't have a label. But I here continue because I was just gonna say, like, I don't know. I feel like weird about this sort of like requirement that it feels like the masses have for like celebrities to like for example, what's his name, Shawn Mendes, like everybody's obsession with Shawn Mendes's sexuality. I think that that's so weird and inappropriate, and I feel that way for Benson Boone too. Like to me, and this is kind of the part of my perspective on this whole conversation is like express yourself however you want. I think that there's definitely something to be said for like intentionality between like I'm intentionally trying to appeal to gay people even though it's not reflective of my personality, whereas like I feel like this is all reflective of his personality. Like I don't feel like he's not being who he is. I mean, obviously there's marketing and capitalism that goes into like being a performer and stuff, but
I think in general, like most artists craft a persona and that's what they make public. So we don't really know if this is who he is.
Yeah.
It's just an image that suits him and an image that obviously appeals to the masses, which makes it obviously profitable.
Yeah.
And so we don't really know anything about it. In my perspective, and and the reason why I have beef with some of this pretend to be gay, or I will use gay whistle tones and not come out as such, is that if you are and you're doing that but you're not fully embracing it, that is less representation that we have in the world, and so for example, Ricky Martin, we all knew he was gay when he was a menudo when he was like 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't come out of the closet until he was 40. And he even like some of his like teammates, he was in a boy band. I don't know if you guys
I
know
actually didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in a boy band in Latin America. He was very famous. The name of the band was called Menudo. And he was really young, had like long hair. Everybody knew he was gay. But obviously at that time, we're talking about like early 90s, probably. Maybe like even late 80s when he was pretty young. And so it wasn't obviously something that you wanted to do that early on, especially if you're capitalizing on high school girls going crazy for the boy band, right?
Yeah,
Like that
because
just wouldn't be
you're not going to get high school boys giving you that energy.
exactly. And so he didn't come out. But one of his teammates, Robbie Rosa, he was also in that band. He actually had a fight with him. Like the group dissolved at some point, but like they were still friends. And he told him, it's like, unless you come out of the closet, I don't want to be your friend. Like you need to be authentic to who you are. This came out way years and years later.
Wow.
And Ricky Martin, was advised not to do it. So he never came out because it was career suicide at the time.
Mhm.
When eventually he did come out, maybe like 10 years ago. I don't know. He was in his 40s at the time. And I do remember that like very shortly after, him and Robbie Rosa recorded a song together. And like you could tell that like this guy finally like followed through with his friendship, right? And the thing was very frustrating because, as gay people, we all knew it, and he hid it as if it was something shameful, And so I think, like, if he could have come out later, he would have propelled the movement forward. And this was like the years where we were still trying to fight for like gay marriage and so that's the part that bothers me the most. And the same thing with Shawn Mendes. It's like now he came out as bisexual. We all kind
It
of
officially happened.
yeah,
Okay.
especially he said that he's, you know, trying to figure out his sexuality. And this is the thing, like
Is
people
it,
live in LA and everybody knows that he fucked everyone in LA, So like
is that the statement though? He didn't specifically identify
he
like a
denounced.
sexuality label. I do. Okay, so I do remember that. Okay, I
Yeah.
was making sure I didn't miss like some
I
grandiose
think he's
announcement.
moving towards embracing it, and maybe that's the middle step, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I imagine to him, I mean, obviously lots of different people react to different situations in different ways. This is similar to probably how I would react in some way, shape, or form. But I imagine to him, there's almost this like, it's almost like a fuck you because everybody's been so obsessed with his sexuality for so long that at this point it's probably like he doesn't want to do it because it's like
I don't think people were just obsessed with sexuality. Like the rumors have been around. Like there's other people in LA and Hollywood. Like these people are having sex.
yeah.
It's not that they're like hidden
Well,
from
and
the world.
also
It's
he's never
like communities are small. So like
when
if
he's
you're
never like officially had like a public relationship. So that's I think a really obvious.
well, but you're still fucking around, and
Yeah.
like people know that you're fucking around, and the gay community, it's small. Like rumors fly really, fast, and so that's I think where the obsession comes from. It's like we know you're gay, like people have
Just
been
say
talking
it.
about it. Just say it, so then like you can move the movement
You
forward
can
and
move
do
the
stuff.
change the
Like
conversation.
you're a fucking millionaire, like what are you worried about? And it's like this thing of like, like they just don't do it, and it frustrates me. But anyhow, that's where the original like discussions that we were having were about Benson Boom. And we sort of like started like just taking into account other things that were happening in media. One of the things that we were talking about recently as well is like about social media and how it like short circuits our attention. I was speaking with a friend recently, and we noticed that we're like moving from really sad news to like really happy reels online, and it's really fucking
The
with my
emotional
brain.
roller
Yeah, like
coaster
the
of like
emotional roller
yeah,
coaster.
scrolling.
And then you share a really interesting fact.
Yeah, so I was scrolling and came across I can't and I like for the life of me I cannot remember like who the people. Oh, it was Jamila whatever her name is from The Good Place. And she was doing an interview where she was talking about how nowadays
yeah.
um you have the way that like scripts for like movies and shows are written is that you'll like hear characters kind of just like very simply speak out like major plot points, like as opposed because they're writing under the assumption that Daria's like adjusting himself right now. It's very funny to watch. They're like writing scripts under the concept of like understanding that people are going to be scrolling on their phones and not paying attention the whole time, so they need to like audibly assert what the plot is to make
Right.
sure people can like still understand what's going on with the show that they're half watching.
I mean, and that is so true. Like I'm watching this show called Dark on Netflix. Really good.
I've tried it so many times. I really struggle with like the foreign dubbed films, and the only thing I can figure out is that it's something about the like cultural relevancy of it all, like the things that are like scary or that they find funny, like there's something that just like never clicks for me because there've been so many shows where I'm like, this sounds so cool and
Yeah.
I'm really into the concept, but every time I watch it I'm just like so bored.
Yeah, it's a hard one to watch, I would say, because yeah, I mean, there is that lack of synchronicity between the lips and what you're hearing. It's a German show, for those that don't know, and it's about time traveling, and it's really, really interesting because it happens in a small town, and there's simultaneous timelines that are happening in the 40 or the 20s, the 40s, the 50s, the 90s, the 2000s.
I never even made it far enough to understand that it was about time travel.
Yeah, it's on season 2. It kind of picks up very slowly at the beginning. Like the first few episodes are drag a little bit. Um, but yeah, once you realize that they're like about time travel, like it's crazy. And then I think like towards the end of season 1, they essentially show you which characters from each timeline are the characters that you learn their life on other timelines because you can't easily recognize them. And it becomes really hard mostly because the names are also in German. Like they're not your typical names that you're familiar with or last names that you will be familiar with. So I'm literally watching and I have to have ChatGPT like literally
Who's that?
remind me who is who, and what do they look like on each timeline. So like I can like literally place the characters, which I feel like in any other show, like it will be a lot easier to like retain who's who. Uh but anyhow, my point is, like there are parts where like it drags a little bit and I feel myself reaching for the phone just because like my attention
Yeah,
just
like I'm
can't
bored.
stay engaged.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. And so in order to heal that, I actually just recently bought a bunch of comic books in paper. And so I'm trying to like go back into like just more of this dull media, but like I couldn't jump directly to like books. So like I needed to have some visuals. So I'm in the in between right now, trying to like detox a little bit from all the social media scrolling. Um, so anyhow, I don't know how that all of that is related. I think like in terms of media, it's related. Like media has been, in general, like what I've been thinking about. And then I've been, if you guys have been watching my stories, I've been obsessed with K-pop demon hunters. So much so that I started going to a K-pop dance class.
I
Like
went
I was
once
seeing,
too. It was a blast.
yeah, Ryan came last Friday. No, it
2
was,
weeks ago.
yeah, two
Yeah.
weeks ago. He did really well, also for his
First dance
class.
class. Oh, we're going back.
And so anyhow, so I've just been super into it. And recently, as you guys know or may not know, probably, but they put it back on the theaters because it has been such a success on Netflix. And they had the sing along, and so I invited a small group of our friends and Ryan, and we went to sing along to K-pop Demon Hunters.
In a room full of children, mostly children and their parents.
I think it was actually quite mixed. Like there were also
Yeah,
a
no,
lot
it
of
was definitely mixed. It was definitely mixed. It's just like rare that I'm in a movie theater with children.
we also went to matinee like 2 p.m. So it was like
After
yeah,
Halloween, yeah.
everybody had their costumes on. It was
Mhm.
really cute.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I did notice is like by seeing it in the theater, is that, just because it is not socially accepted to be on the phone on a theater, and thank God for that. Like I was very grateful for it. That I noticed so many more details in the movie that I had missed when I watched it at home. And I know that when I was watching it at home, I also kind of begrudgingly was watching it because I didn't want to watch it. Like I was like, okay, this is like a worldwide zeitgeist phenomenon, but I don't want to like
Miss out.
yeah, like, and I just kind of forced myself to watch it, and then like within 15 minutes I was hooked
That
because
was how I
so good,
started
yeah.
too. Yeah.
But I was refusing to watch it because I thought it was like so mainstream, and I didn't understand before I watched it. But if you haven't, it is
It's
really,
a phenomenal
it's a
movie.
phenomenal movie. Like it is very therapy coded. It's all about healing dark,
Without being too
shadow work.
complicated. Like they did like a really great job of this like simple but like deep intricate story
Yeah,
that's like super relatable to anybody.
it's super relatable, and the more that you also understand like therapy and shadow work and integration of the dark into the light as like a path forward into emotional growth, you'll also see those things like it's there, like
Yeah.
it's obviously was the foundation of it all, even though like the story is very simple. And they have so much more to go to, but like yeah, it's a really interesting movie. The music is amazing. I've been singing all day long. It's my new obsession between Wicked and K-pop Demon Hunters.
Mashup. We need a
Yeah,
mashup.
oh my god, I will die. Can you
Wicked
imagine?
Demon Hunters.
That would be so cool. So, I think for the next section, we can talk about some of the evolution of queer representation. Um, I'll talk about the 80s and 90s, I guess.
I can speak to some of the 90s at
Yeah.
least.
But I wanted to. I mean, like, I have to talk about Madonna because obviously she is a gay queer icon. She also has come out as bisexual, uh not at the time but later on in life, and it was always she was the sexual revolution of the 80s. Justify My Love, Erotica, the album, the sex book that she released called Sex, um all of these things, plus she was a huge ally of gay people through the 80s, through like the HIV pandemic, where like this are the times where like we didn't know what was happening to gay people, and a lot of her dancers were obviously gay, and she even had dancers that were HIV positive, and she made a point to touch them. Like this is the time where like the propaganda was so big that like we didn't know what was happening, and people were afraid to touch people with HIV. And she comes to mind as like one of the
Dario's
Michael.
getting
Yeah.
blown up right now. It's all
Okay.
coming through on his laptop.
I hope you guys cannot hear that.
They probably can't. They can never hear the weird little noises that we hear with
Isn't this
our
supposed to
amplified
fully focus?
silence. There you
Yeah.
go.
And so yeah, so obviously I wanted to mention it as like the first remembrance that I had of positive gay tones. It
Yeah.
wasn't fully,
I ship.
yeah, it was allyship, it was some undertones, it was there. Didn't fully understand or interpret it, but like I just kind of like knew, oh, okay, these people are all right. Like the gay people is okay. But like it always, in my mind, she was like the first touchstone that I had towards, like, or a gateway to like positive gay representation and allyship. And then fast forward to the 90s, and I think that this is where personally myself, I was starting to know that there was something different about me. And this is the peak time of like Will and Grace, Friends. Not super familiar with Ellen, but I knew the story because at this time I was still in Argentina. But Will and Grace, in Friends first. I think Friends came out first,
Yeah, Friends was first.
and I do remember that even though they had like the lesbian couple very early on in the episodes, and they also had a trans character. I think like Chandler's father
Yeah.
was trans.
hmm
Um, the representation was there, but also there were the butt of the jokes, and
Yeah,
so there was a lot of
it didn't age well, the comedy of it,
right.
for sure. I
And
mean,
so,
and I would say that even regardless of outside of like the LGBTQ aspect, I think that that's kind of true across the board, in my opinion, for Friends, is that I feel like a lot of it,
oh yeah,
going back, is like very problematic and hard to watch.
it was a different times, and I can disregard that it was a still one step forward because
hmm
not only we now have these characters online, live, and
Basically, the
access
90s
to it,
version of
yeah,
online.
yeah, and so by looking back, like you said, I think it was very problematic. It's very white. There was zero diversity, and the minority groups were the butts of the jokes.
Yeah.
Even though there was representation, I wouldn't say that it was the best representation. And the same with Will and Grace. I think Will and Grace, what it did is like we had the stereotypes, but finally there's like a whole show about gay people, which it was wild,
hmm
uh, but it was very stereotypical. And it was like, this is the one palatable version that we can give you of gays that are funny and sussy and like, very one dimensional and superficial.
Yeah.
Um, but also, well, aside from Dawson's Creek was the first network men on men kiss, and Will and Grace. They had the first live television kiss. No, broadcast.
Yeah, and it's like funny because it's like that doesn't register for me at all.
Oh, it was huge. There were
Yeah.
protests about it. Like
When do
people,
you remember when specifically, more specifically it was? Like, do you remember the year by any chance?
no,
Just that it was in the
it
90s?
was in the 90s.
Yeah,
It
so
was like
I mean, I
the
was
90s, I'm assuming, because it was not at the beginning of the show. So,
yeah,
and
I
I
wasn't
think it
even
ran for
double
like
digits yet.
8 seasons, I think.
See, Will and Grace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
original. And then they tried to do another final
I didn't
season.
watch that at all.
And now I'm like really upset about Grace because she came out as a Republican, like deep, deep, deep MAGA. So she's getting canceled right now in this moment, which is mind boggling to me. It's like how you
And
take,
Nicki Minaj too. What a weird one.
we are in like such a weird times because I feel like people are coming out of the woodworks and also choosing their sides, right? So like we have this whole debacle with Sydney Sweeney, and she was asked straight up on
About
an
her, the
interview
commercial.
about the commercial of the like perfect jeans, and she's like, I want to give you the opportunity to clear that up, and her face was just content, and she said, if I had something to talk about, you'll hear it from me.
Yeah,
And she didn't clear it up, and then Zendaya comes out and she's like, I'm not going to do promotion for season 3 of Euphoria with her. Like, I want to be completely like separated from her. And this is the thing. And the problem is you make your fame, for the remissing and, um, and this people like
you're famous because of us.
because of like gay people, because of people of color, because like Sydney Sweeney in Euphoria, like there's a trans character, there is like obviously a black character in it, and like that's what it's amazing about that, and you will think they will honor it, but I guess not.
Well, I mean, if you look at the show, Sydney Sweeney is just a white girl
Yeah,
with white girl
yeah,
problems.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So, but yeah, it's crazy. Today, like I literally in my head now, I keep track of everyone that actually make a statement either in favor of diversity, in favor of LGBTQ people, or against it, right?
it's one thing to come out as a Republican. I think it's an
Yeah,
entirely different thing to come out as a
it's a
MAGA
maggot. Yeah,
supporter.
yeah. I agree. I agree with you. Those are very different, definitions. But Olivia Rodrigo just came out because apparently the White House, the current administration, was using her music to promote ICE videos or some other bullshit, and she like now is suing them and saying like you're not allowed to use my music to
I mean, they've done that
for several people.
several artists now,
Yeah.
like not just using their music, but sometimes using like their imagery as
Yeah.
well. Wasn't there something similar with Taylor Swift, like
Yeah.
early on?
Yeah, Taylor Swift recently actually, like they were using her music. There was also
For some reason, I thought it was back closer to election times. That's what I have in
no,
my head.
election time, like Trump was like, I hate her, she's a bad musician. Like
Oh,
he
he
was
was
like,
doing it to somebody.
he was talking shit about her on Twitter, and now like he flipped it and like used the latest like album to like promote some bullshit like propaganda. But yeah, anyhow.
Trump is inconsistent. No new news there.
Yeah. And so Will and Grace, very radical, I think, for the time, first visibility. And that takes us to like the 2000s for me personally. And there were two shows that were really important. I think that I can't remember if the L War came out first, but it was the L War and Queer as Folk. Uh,
I think Queer as Folk came out first
well,
because I
Queer as
thought
Folk was the British. So Queer as Folk, the British, I think came out
the British
first.
version was first.
Yeah, and then here they made the American version, which
Which
is
was
the one that
supposed
I'm familiar with.
and which I think was supposed to be filmed in Pittsburgh or Harris,
Philadelphia, yeah.
not Philadelphia. It was not the.
Nice,
It was like Pittsburgh, I
Pittsburgh.
think it was specifically.
Yeah,
Queer as Folk definitely resonates with me really hard.
yeah.
Like I would say that that's the first one where it was like really impactful for me because even though Will and Grace was like first, for some reason just didn't feel really impactful, and it's probably because it was so like
It was
one dimensional.
gay life, which I don't think like unless you were like super old, which I wasn't at the time, obviously, like I couldn't relate to like being a lawyer and having a house and wanting to
Having
get
an
married in
apartment
an
with my
apartment
rich
in New
friends,
Exactly.
like
All of that felt so
niche.
niche and like not the gay attitude, but Queer as Folk. It was my age group,
Dynamic
living the
characters.
dynamics and the problems and the issues that I was having. Also, a young life. Like I was going out and to dance parties and drugs were an issue. And
We're seeing sex, we're seeing love, we're seeing heartbreak, like
Yeah.
real stuff, not where it was like Will and Grace, where it was like
Yeah.
shop for a date or something, like some dumb shit.
Even though I was young and probably emotionally not that deep, like it was absolutely more relatable.
Absolutely. I remember because must have all been around right when I first came out too. Like I remember so much happened that year because I had met my two of my best friends at the time,
Yeah.
and the one girl had all the Queer as Folk DVDs, and I would sneak them. I had to like hide them, and like I remember at one point my dad found them and literally made my friend's mom come to my house to pick them up because he didn't even think it was appropriate for like he didn't. I mean,
It wasn't an appropriate show for kids.
Well,
like they were very graphic.
but then let's
almost-
also remember the context of my parents let me watch the first two Scream movies when I was 7 years old. So to be at like Scream, like watching people get their fucking intestines ripped out and murdered at the age of 7, but now I'm 14 and I can't watch sex.
But this is America, like it.
Oh yeah, certainly.
There's like a repression of sexuality in America that I don't think Latinos have. We're more sexually open, more touchy, more voluptuous, more naked. Like all of those things to us don't feel as taboo
Mhm.
as like it felt when I moved here, where like people don't talk about sex, but everything is hypersexualized because like it has to have an outlet, and I think it just kind of comes off in this very capitalist objectification of women and men and music and art, right?
Yeah.
But in Latin America, like it's not a big deal. Sex happens. Like women, are more comfortable naked. Breastfeeding is very normal. Like I remember breastfeeding, no, not myself, but like people.
Who were you breastfeeding, Dario?
I don't know. Someone wants to suck my titties.
Someone definitely wants to suck your titties. For all you out there listening, you just got your opportunity.
Oh, yeah, we are king. It's like I want to
Definitely. I mean, if you watch The Boys, Homelander, Homelander loves that shit.
Oh my god. Um, okay, I need to erase that image.
But I will say, for me though, I don't know that I felt that way necessarily about like the taboo-ness of sex generally, in especially in relation to cinema. My family was really, really big on like watching movies and shows together, and certainly there were plenty of times where like the movie that we would be watching would have like a sex scene. So I remember really early on kind of getting like desensitized to this like potentially thing that would be really uncomfortable for a lot of people, like watching a sex scene with their parents. Like I just remember starting to do that at a very early age.
I feel like your family in general, it's not the most common example
Certainly
of
not.
a typical white American family.
Certainly
like
not.
they did seem to have a little bit more awareness, but also like your relationship with them, the way that you describe it to me, it always feels like uh it's very warm and connected and open.
We're just so close.
Which
Like
you
so,
still have those relationships with them,
yeah,
does that make sense?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so but what I wanted to say is like Queer as Folk like was literally soft core
Porn.
like
Soft. Yeah, I
guess
guess.
you didn't
I guess we're not seeing
see
dicks. We
you're
don't,
not
I don't think we
specific.
ever see a dick. I don't think we ever see a dick.
We'll have to check that.
We never see none of the main actors for sure.
Oh my god, I was so in love with that guy.
Brian Kinney,
Brian Kinney. I wanted to be the blondie twink so
Justin.
badly. Yeah.
I had in some way, shape, or form everybody but Ted. Unfortunately, I just didn't like Ted because
He was the goofy, not good looking guy.
it wasn't even about his looks. His personality just wasn't. He was like, he just didn't have like an attractive personality. He was very caring and loving, but also like really hyper insecure and toxic at the same time.
I mean, each of the characters were
Had their own levels of toxicity for sure.
for sure, but also they were like archetypes, right?
Like yeah, because
you know, he was like the nerd that didn't go out, that just didn't have the cool factor, you know.
it felt like that, I guess, a little bit. I felt like that person. But like even Emmett, who was like super feminine, Emmett was attractive. Like and his
so
I
think maybe because I have my own issues with like
the flamboyancy. Yeah. See, for me, even like I was like, there were certain degrees of it to where I was like, that's not attractive. But I think Emmett was attractive. I think to me, there was appeal to his flamboyancy to like just be.
It was natural to him, and I think like that's my issue with femininity is like when it's natural to who you are, it's really easy for me to accept it. But when it's that forced, you know, like I do this to like like
I'm trying to be a sassy bitch.
Yeah, like I just that type of sassy bitch is also like not my favorite descriptor on people. If I can describe you that way, we're
You're probably not friends.
Yeah, it's just not my vibe, you know. But anyhow,
my favorite was Mike's, the doctor, the HIV positive doctor. He was my biggest crush, I would say.
I have a vague
David. David, was that his name? I think he had a son too with a woman before he had come out. I always remember he was most attracted to.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's blending in my head with Will and Grace's husband, like the cop. It was so hot too.
I think they're the same person. It's the same person.
Okay, yeah, I think so.
That's why. Because you're thinking of the same actor. He was so hunky. He was so
good looking.
Yeah, he was
so
hot.
good looking. Yeah.
Well, he was like really grounded and really down to earth, but then had his like kind of random, really weak, vulnerable moments. I really liked him.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you clear that up. I'm like thinking about this all the thing, and I don't know why.
No, hot cop, same guy.
So 2000s were wild, and that was a big thing. And then we get to like the 2010s, and that's when we got Netflix now, and you know,
did Pose start that early? Because I didn't start watching it till pandemic.
when was the pandemic?
2020.
20s. So, yeah, I think I might have.
That might just be a little early.
Yeah, so I think like from the 2010s to 2020s.
Nothing happened.
No, a lot happened. It's like we got Pose, we got Sense8.
I mean, Love
Sense8
Stop.
was definitely on the 10s
I
because
think.
I was
Well, and
in
I think.
Austin when I watched that for the first
Okay.
time. And Heartstopper is definitely more on the recent, like.
I mean, I would say before all of those, though, Love Simon, I think, was the big.
Yeah, we were gonna get into that. I don't know where that went, but yeah,
We certainly
Love
talk about it later, but I
Yeah.
feel like that is such like an iconic, monumental moment for like gay
And
representation
they
in
did
cinema.
so badly in the theaters, and I'm so upset because it was the first big studio
Well, it wasn't
romantic
it
movie,
was,
but
but it wasn't a great story. That's the whole problem.
well, it wasn't a great story. I think also this is the problem with a lot of gay media. It's like the numbers of the people that are going to want to watch that story and feel relatable to it, they're going to be less than
Lesser.
10% of the population, you
Yeah.
know? And so for those movies to really do well, they have to have other elements that other people can
Relate to.
And it's really interesting because this is so frustrating for all of us that grew up gay. We didn't have representation. We had to project our stories onto straight characters all of the time. And even to this day, you know, when I hear the arguments like, oh, why do you need to feed us like gay studies? I'm like, why not? Like,
That's why it's so the whole conversation around grooming and stuff is like is and what's the word that I'm indoctrination and all of that
Yeah.
is absolutely so asinine and hypocritical. It's like you'll have somebody buying a little shirt that says like macho man or like he gets all like for babies.
He gets all the ladies.
For babies who are like newborns, and then you're like don't shove gay in my face. I'm like, you just put a shirt about like titties on a little baby.
I know it's crazy because even growing up and like having these adults asking me if I had a girlfriend, it's like I'm like 3, 4, 5. I'm just barely speaking, you know.
You're like, no, but I just caught a Pikachu.
What do you mean, Pikachu?
Pokemon, baby.
Is that what we call it?
That was me. That was mine.
I didn't have Pokemon.
Yeah, that was definitely my group, my age.
So yeah, so current like music idols, I think right now, Billie Eilish. I think well,
and especially kudos to Billie Eilish for her call out of billionaires. Keep that shit up, celebrities.
Exactly. Like if we're gonna talk about like amazing celebrities, you know, like Billie Eilish, like first of all,
phenomenal artist.
We all kind of have like a vibe. Like I always was like when I keep seeing her with her baggy like basketball shirts, you know, when she first like started making it big. And she's like, I don't want to show my body. I'm too young, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was like super cool, you know, for her, super grounded. But then like, I don't know if it was out of the blue, but to me, like it took me by surprise when she released the second album. I can't remember the name.
Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't be able to.
The blue album, the blue cover. And like all of the lyrics were about like her and women. And I was like, oh my God, like, was this always there? And like, I just didn't pick up on it? Or
I don't think so, right?
I think like she just opened up on that album and it was beautiful. Such a good album. Uh, and, and I think like before that we had like Little Nas, like very broadly and like wildly controlling the narrative, you know, like he entered the music industry through the country path, just kind of like Taylor Swift, and he was against the odds, you know, like
well, and
I'm gonna make it regardless.
And that one song was really popular, especially amongst kids.
Well, but that was because Cyrus, what's his name, Miley Cyrus, that
Billy Cyrus.
Yeah, Billy Cyrus like was like, if they don't let you like into like he actually ally like he joined him as an ally.
I didn't know that.
To redo this with him because the song was really good, but he was not being able to crack into the country scene. And then Miley Cyrus, not Miley Cyrus. Billy Cyrus, was like, "Oh, let's re-record it together," and then that's when it became huge,
Yeah, okay.
and that's how he essentially entered it. And then he controlled the narrative on Twitter, the way that he actually navigated like social media to just like prop himself up. I think that that was quite fantastic. And then recently, we were also talking about him
Yeah,
because
because he got fucked royally by the media.
yeah,
That's bullshit.
yeah, if you guys don't know, he was like walking around and
LA
in
in his
LA
underwear, which
in
is
his underwear with like
fucking not doing it.
he was definitely high as balls. But I have an experience like that in my 20s.
I have walked around the city of San
Yeah,
Francisco high as balls in just my underwear plenty of
yeah,
times.
exactly. And so, and
Maybe not in heels.
then
I'm not that graceful.
like, he was actually having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the cops like detain him. He apparently hit a cop, which was probably the biggest
Probably
problematic
instigated
ever.
by
Yeah,
them.
but we can imagine a black guy,
Yeah.
gay, queer, like high. So, but then the way that the media spun the story, like he was, first of all, like he was fully naked. I was like, I absolutely have walked around
He was
with
in
as
like
little clothes.
he was in like old like white
Shorts.
tighties.
Yeah, like no, he was like booty shorts.
Oh,
They
were
like,
they?
like cream color,
Okay. The image in my head was like
and
that
he
they
had
were
like
like old school whitey tighties.
boots.
The cream boots I can
Yeah.
see.
Uh, it wasn't that big of a deal. I think that the worst part is that he was walking on the street and was endangering himself and endangering probably drivers. But it was
Yeah.
also like 3 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyhow, point is, we all have had this type of interactions. It's just that we're not famous and we don't get distorted by the media, and that was pretty sad to see that happen. So hopefully he's doing okay. Hopefully he has friends.
Yeah, the thing that makes me the saddest about that whole
Yeah,
situation is that he was alone.
that he was alone and like there were no friends there to
Yeah.
walk with him.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think Troy Sivan, he kind of came out a little bit before Lil Nas, right? And he was being propped up by Ariana. Like that's what I remember.
I mean, as long as I've known about Troye Sivan, I've known that he was gay.
Am I getting confused with someone else? Troy Sivan, Troy Sivan, Troy Sivan.
I don't know much
I
about.
think who am I thinking about? There was like one of Ariana's like uh dancers, and then he became a musician, and they did a song together. Okay, my brain is not working on that one, but uh what I love about his lyrics is that they do kind of share like
The gay
the gay
experience.
experience in a way that like we have not heard it yet. It's like also singing about boys, just like Lil Nas. Because even Ricky Martin, to this day, he has not released a song where he's actually
Singing about a man.
singing about a man. You can extrapolate, but there's no gender specified on his music. And it always like it's like I wish that he would just come up and send like a love story about a man. Like those are the songs that like we don't have.
Yeah, and they would probably do better because they would be more
Honest.
real and less watered down.
Yeah. And the same with Sam Smith. Like at the beginning he was not out.
He's had such a crazy journey, I feel like.
And then he came out of the closet and then he became like non-binary. And to this day where like he has that song with a trans person.
Kim Petras?
Yeah.
They did a song together. I know that.
Yeah.
Is that who you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's gonna be local to the Castro Theater in February.
What do you mean local? Like doing performances regularly? Whoa, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely we should get tickets.
Absolutely. I'm down
It's
to
gonna
do
be
that.
the reopening of the Castro
Oh,
Theater.
I think did Drew send something out about? I feel like Drew sent maybe it was specifically this. I just remember I think it was Drew who sent me something about like trying to go see Sam Smith. So I wonder if it was that.
That's probably that then. So anyhow,
So now that we went through a
the
timeline.
timelines, I think like the next part of what we wanted to talk about is just what's good representation, what's bad representation, and what's allyship, right? And so for us, or for me at least, I'm going to speak for myself here. Good representation is when there is care about the storyline, there is normalization about being gay. And so it's not this thing that is kind of defined within 10 seconds of knowing that person because you can tell because of the mannerisms. But I personally appreciate the stories where you don't know that someone is gay until it becomes relevant to the story. And then there's more purpose to it. And so they're not like that token. It's like, oh, that is the gay character, you know?
100%. The first thing I think of is like good representation for me is like a story that's not the focal point is not that they're gay. Like,
Correct.
because nobody's life, dynamic, real people's lives don't revolve around their sexuality like as a
100%.
major focal point
Yeah.
of like who they are. Like yes, it's a critical part of who we are, but our entire lives don't revolve around
Correct.
it.
Correct.
So
Yeah, it's like that. It's like a heartbeat that we have, but it's not the main focus. Like
mhm.
most of the rest of our lives are like just like everybody else's. We have the same problems, sometimes more, but like the basic problems of survival, of friendship, of love, like all of those themes are the same that everybody else. And sometimes like some of this bad representation, to me is the opposite, right? Like it's like flat caricatures. It's like, oh, all you are is just the gay sassy friend with the mannerisms,
Yeah.
and for a lot of my youth, like I was having a hard time also accepting myself because I couldn't see myself in any gay representations. At the time, and this is in Argentina in the late 80s, early 90s, we had, what I remember is seeing a lot of comedians, like sketches like similar to SNL, where the guys will dress up as women, and that was considered funny, and we kind of also knew that those comedians may be gay, but I couldn't relate to that because I'm like, I
I
don't,
don't dress up as like a
I don't
girl.
want to dress up like that. I don't want to be a woman. I don't have those super feminine mannerisms. And so I couldn't relate. And I was like, well, I can't be gay because I'm not that, you know, but there is all these other things and all these other feelings and attractions that also exist. And so what am I? Like, does that mean that if I follow those desires, I need to end up in that place? And so I didn't have good representation.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the flat caricatures, I think it's a terrible thing.
And something and then just like to uh r- respond to like you not feeling like you're seeing representation. I almost had like the opposite experience. Not that I was seeing it in the mainstream, but shortly around the time where I came out, I discovered something. I discovered Logo TV, which was like a lesbian gay cable channel.
Oh,
And
I never heard of
I
this.
went ham. Like I would listen to, they would have like MTV, they would have like every day there would be like a period of time that was just all about music where they would highlight artists. That's how I found out about Jay Brannon, and they had all of these like indie gay movies and
That
stuff like
sounds
that.
really cool. I never heard of this
Like
place.
I have just like a whole
Uh,
slew of like Were the World Mine, Latter Days, a movie called Normal, Edge of 17, But I'm a Cheerleader. Like I have this just like
wow.
slew of like indie gay movies and artists that I used to like latch on to when I was that age. Like, and like one of the primary examples I think of is there's this movie Short Bus, which is super inappropriate for the age that I was. And I remember the way that I had to get it was I had to, if anybody remembers Suncoast, like the store where you could go buy like music and you don't remember that? Maybe it was on, and maybe it was also just an East Coast thing. So I
Maybe.
was in Philly area at the time, but the mall had a store called Suncoast, which sold like movies and DVDs and stuff like that. So I went to them and had them order it for me and to have it delivered to the store so then I could go pick it up from the store so it would never come to my house.
Mhm.
And I don't know how they didn't like card me because it's such an inappropriate movie, but was like groundbreaking for me at the age of like 16 to see this like insane degree of like sexual fluidity and
Wow.
openness and like So where I
Yeah.
wasn't seeing lots of representation in my real life, because I'm in like the rural ghetto Pennsylvania and a high school full of 700 kids in my class, and I'm the only person who's out gay, go home and I'm watching TV and I do see these people out there and
Right.
represented. So like I had almost like the polar opposite, which I think probably certainly helped encourage me to feel more comfortable in my real life being
Yeah.
this way. Because to me, it felt like the area that it felt like where I was the outlier.
Mm.
Like I was like, I'm in this rural, suburban ghetto place, and that's why I'm not seeing it. But I know that they're out there.
System. Yeah. That's very fascinating. I wonder how that formative experience sort of changed our personalities, because to me, like another form of like representation that I had at the time was, what we call like tragedy porn on gay stories. And they were always like heart-wrenching, scary stories. And, again, product of the time. This is early 90s, HIV pandemic, just coming out of the 80s where like it was really, really bad. And one of the first fully gay movies I remember watching with my family is Philadelphia. And this is like Tom
And
Hanks.
it's so funny because I don't know this movie
Like,
at
he
all.
does not know what this movie we talked
I'm
about it
from
before. You're just,
Philadelphia. Don't
it's
even.
called Philadelphia. Oh my God, you guys, it's so sad. It's Tom Hanks, so also like big brand, not big brand, but big actor.
Hmm.
And he's a gay man that contracts HIV, and literally the whole movie is him just
Slowly decaying.
decaying to the point where like they show him on a wheelchair with like red spots all over his body, completely wasted away. And so this, coupled with my parents' lack of education on the topic in general and the general societal fear of this disease, that's where the education came from my parents, is if you have sex, you're gonna die. And that marked me for years. I think I spoke in another episode, until I got on prep on my 30s,
Yeah, and then I'm part of the generation who kind of like, to us that's kind of like this like hazy thing that we know happened and
Yeah.
like maybe has this like subtle impact on us, but it's not as
Yeah.
prominent for my generation, I
Right.
think.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, tragedy porn, there's so many movies too. I remember like when I first started like looking on Netflix, when they were, still on the CDs, when they sent you the
Oh my
CDs.
God, what a time when you went to the little kiosks and you had to
Yeah,
like
they
get
got
them
the
out
kids.
like it was a vending machine.
Yeah. And so I remember like watching, Shelter and some of the other ones. And the problem with those movies too is that they were always like sad endings. And there was like, you will watch this movie, you might start feeling a little bit relatable, and then those stories were also like never either reciprocated, or someone dies of HIV, or the love story is unrequited. And it was just always like this sadness, that you will leave these movies with this much sadness, like, and the reinforcement that being gay, it's not a happy story,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I will say, even though I was seeing lots of representation, I don't feel like a lot of the endings of the stuff that I was seeing was like I would categorize as sad. I would say that a lot of like the major themes of I feel like the movie that and cinema that I was watching at that time, that like was gay, was kind of more focused around like the struggle for them to accept themselves and then how that related to their ability to like find love, and then also maybe in some way shape or form for their love to be accepted.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a lot of like hardship and struggle, and so that was kind of like the message that I more so took away, not necessarily that it's not a happy or it's an inherently sad life, but that it is definitely a harder life
Yeah.
and that you will struggle more, and that
Yeah.
like yeah, you're just gonna have to go through more hard things to like have the same experiences
Yeah.
as everybody
And
else.
I think, to a degree in my time that was true. And I even remember my mom saying that, like one of her biggest fears, even though like she knew since I was 3, right, was that she didn't want me to be gay, not because she wouldn't accept that, because she, at the end of it all, she did, but she was really afraid that my life was going to be harder, you
Yeah.
know? And I think, like, obviously,
I think that's a common.
through high school, it was. But, now that I'm living in the gayest city in the States, like, obviously, it doesn't feel like it's giving me any issues, right? Um, so, and the next thing that before we go into like part three and our sections here, like, so we have representation, we have storylines, and then we have straight actors and queer roles, and then we have queer actors and queer roles, but queer actors often cannot get straight roles in movies, and so this is probably a problem with Hollywood. Do you think like straight actors and queer roles, and I'm thinking about Brokeback Mountain. Do you think that that's allyship, or do you think that that's an opportunity theft for our queer actors that do exist and are out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a complicated topic because I mean, like at baseline, I want to like, uh, uh, I don't know. It's a complicated topic because at baseline, my initial reaction is like whoever's gonna do the best job should get the role,
Right.
but like I don't know.
But
Some
ultimately, it's not equal.
it's not
Yeah.
equal, and I think that's the problem. Is yeah, exactly. Like I want the best people to play the parts to get the parts, but that's obviously not what's actually happening.
Right.
There's so much like politics and capitalism that goes into
Yeah.
the decision of who's going to play what
Yeah.
role. And I would certainly feel more comfortable landing with the like best person gets the best role, but like I said, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Queer people need to be getting more roles, and we do need to see more queer stories, and queer people are likely going to be able to tell those stories better.
It's like a chicken and the egg. Like I see it from both sides. It's like,
Yeah.
you want this movie or this show to be successful if you can get a very famous actor to play the role, which are traditionally straight actors. You want to get that name, right? On your lineup. And the funny thing is, like, gay actors are not that many, they're not as big, but also because they don't get the roles to play the straight actors or to play the straight roles or to play in the big movies, they also never are going to be as famous. So I think, like, I see, like, organically probably this is going to evolve the more that we normalize gayness in general. And I do feel like, Gen Z and Gen Y are like so much more fluid. Like, you just can never tell anymore.
Yeah, we're just waiting for some older generations to
I'm
die
like,
off
I'm
still.
absolutely in love with Elordi. What's his name? He's the new Frankenstein guy.
Jacob,
Jacob Elordi. Oh my God, I am so in love with this man.
he's so pretty.
He is so handsome.
And he's such a good actor.
He's a great actor, and he's so comfortable in his sexuality. Every single time I see an interview with him, like, he has no problem acknowledging like the beauty of men. That like he got like he I think he acknowledged that he had a crush on Brad Pitt when he was growing up, and I'm just like, I freaking love this. Like the fluidity, the normalization, that like
It's
just
funny because it's and maybe I just haven't seen enough, but it's a he always plays such like problematic
yeah.
characters. But it's probably because he's such a good fucking actor.
He's like such a sweetie.
Yeah.
It's similar to the other boy that we like, Garfield.
Oh
Andrew
yeah.
Garfield. Like I feel like they're like the same energetic sweetness and comfortably manly enough to accept that like there is a fluidity and that they can,
Yeah. I don't need to fit into some mold or be ashamed of expressing
emotional
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. So absolutely, I love them as like allyship, representation.
Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to Live Laugh Loads. We want to try to keep episodes to about an hour and a half or so we're going to take a break here. Come take a load off with us next week and catch the next part of this episode.
You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube.
You guys can check us out on Instagram at LiveLaughLoads.podcast, on Bluesky at LiveLaughLoadsCast, or look us up at LiveLaughLoads.com.
rated gay for everyone.
Rated gay for everyone, yeah.